Of all the sports that you would think are not suitable for blind or visually impaired people, shooting would have to be at the top of the list. But here at Blackburn Acoustic Rifle Club, they have a thriving blind community group. Special targets and sights enable shooters to hear when they're aiming at the centre. And we've come here today to find out exactly how that might work and to see how blind people can get just as much out of this sport as anyone else.
Basically how it works is that there's a sonar on top of there. That looks like a sight, but it's actually a sonar, and it picks up the light. So because the target's dark on the outside and bright in the middle there, if you look down at the target so you see where it's, the light's shining on there, so as you get closer to there, it'll pick up on the sound of there. We'll probably be able to rig that into your camera to let you listen to that as well. When it gets closer to the centre there, it makes a very, very high-pitched sound. High-pitched sound then means you're right in the middle, you've got the most amount of light then, and that's when you release the trigger there. So that's how you would know that you're on the target there. Right, Dave, your target's down there now.
Okay.
Yep, you got your sound.
So I'll just turn that down. I'll just find it and then...
I'll load you.
Go on then.
Loaded.
Terry loads the pellets into the guns for us because we won't know where to put the pellets. And I'll turn my sound on because I need to focus this so the gun is actually on the target, because we can't see where it is. It takes a little minute to move it round. I lost my sight 5 years ago, so everything's blurred, and I felt like there was no point in living. There's no reason. I was totally out of this world because I had a job that travelled all over the world. I was an IT consultant, project manager. There's quite a lot of different leagues, so it doesn't matter how good or bad you are, you're shooting against other people in your same categories. So you're never going to be shooting against some of the best or some of the worst. You don't need to worry about that. We have a winter league and a summer league, and at the end of the shooting season, where you've got 10 sets of cards, they put them into the league and then they determine where you go in each category, and they move you up and down. And once a year we go to Aldersley, which is in Wolverhampton, and that's the British shooting finals. So it's nice to do that as well, and not just are you competitive, you're actually shooting for medals and against other clubs.
Well, what have you got there? If you've got 2 8s.
Yeah, them a bit last two, would they?
2, 3, 4 9s, and the rest are 10s.
Right, that's
well
pretty good, yeah.
Thank you.
I'm always pleased with that. I'm always aiming for about 95 out of 100 in competition. But I wasn't. 12 months ago, I was getting 70s and 80s, but now I'm up to the 90s. So we're all improving. It's not just me. There's a lot of us improving. And I think we're pretty good standard now, aren't we?
We have
come on a long way.
Not long ago we had our first 100.
Yeah. I've had a 97. Last week one guy had a 99. But James has had 100.
Yeah, the club itself started from an invitation from Blackburn and Rifle and Pistol Club to come down and see what they had available. We are all members or part of a group called Galloway Society for the Blind, based in Penwith and Preston, and they brought some people down just to have a look and see what acoustic shooting was about. Most people, when you say blind people shooting, it doesn't gel with them.
And is it a sport that that you find that can quite easily improve over the period of time?
I wouldn't necessarily say easily improve, but the improvements that they have made over the last 2 years is quite astonishing, really. I've worked with these people in many different spheres within Galloway's, and when you see them taking on skills such as canoeing, kayaking, sailing, whitewater rafting, mountain climbing, driving cars around a race circuit, you know what they're capable of. But nonetheless, they've had to work extremely hard, and we now keep a register of the scores each week, which gun they're using, what the settings are on the gun, the height of the stand that they're using, and what they're scoring. And some of them we're actually now measuring the size of the grouping. It's getting to that degree that they're getting so intense with it.
That's amazing. How does this sport compare to other sports that they do as far as building their own confidence and...
Yeah, it's good because although they're here as a group, in the main they're competing individually, although there are some team aspects of it. And I have seen people over the last 2 years blossom in their confidence levels, not just in shooting, but their confidence in mixing with the group, fitting in with other people, welcoming new people along. And I think it's just lovely. You get such a buzz from doing it.
So what does it do for you? What does shooting as a sport do for you?
Well, I've always been into shooting. My dad used to. I've done a bit of clay pigeon and a bit of archery, but it's just a challenge. It look to other people it looks easy, but it's not, because you've got to breathe and all that. It's just bettering myself, basically, thinking, and I'm like Marquita. I want the 100, and I'm nearly there. I'll get 100, yeah.
You're not far off.
No.
What made you start to take it up in the first place, Marquita?
We was given the opportunity, and to be honest, I thought anyone who's going to give a whole load of blinkies, that's what we call ourselves, guns with pellets, you've got to go for it. So, you know, and it's, I've always been afraid of guns. So I thought, well, we'll give it a go and see how it is. And it's just brilliant. We just love it, don't we? All of us.
Yeah.
I'm just not breathing. That is terrifying. That is so hard. Oh dear, not as good as they did. My goodness.
There you go.
Wow.
The difference is like when you're looking, you can correct it then with your vision then, so you're able to use a completely different sense then.
Yeah.
It's that listening then, when you get that sound, it's
Well,
entirely different now.
What I hadn't envisaged is just, it's actually even, your breathing on this is even more important to you than your breathing on normal shooting.
Far more pronounced, isn't it? Yeah.
Because the minute you think you've got it, and then you take the slightest bit of breath, and you've lost the whole target again, and you have no way of actually getting back to it.
We've got a national competition coming up soon for the shooting.
Yeah.
So
Are you both entering?
Yes, we're going to go for it. You've got to challenge yourself, and it's before all this and before we had this opportunity, I used to sit indoors and just be so fed up and so down all the time. And this has given us a life back. It's given us a challenge and something to do.
Yeah.
And it's stopped the depression and all that. It's a brilliant thing to do.
All my friends, most of my friends are in Galloways, but my friends outside of Galloway said, you've got a better life than I have.